Whoa. Looks like I'm invisible. What's going on here? One second, guys. Looks like we had some technical difficulties there. But hello. Welcome back to another live stream. Today, we're going to be covering Shopify command line tool. And more importantly, we're going to be covering how to use Shopify CLI for theme development. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into my screen. I hope you guys are having a happy holidays if you guys are watching live. And if you guys are watching the replay, I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Let's go ahead and jump into the Shopify CLI documentation, and let's take a look at what we're going to be doing today. So, well, I'm doubled up here. One second. There we go. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about Shopify CLI. So this looks like it's Shopify CLI, the general one. It says that it helps you build Shopify apps, but what we're going to be covering is Shopify CLI for themes and specifically for theme development. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is go ahead and install Shopify CLI. Now, for the purposes of this live stream, I've gone ahead and uninstalled it because I want you guys to be starting from pretty much the same place as me. Okay, so we've got it uninstalled. We can go ahead and look at the requirements. So if we're going to be essentially running this on Windows, we're going to need to go ahead and have Ruby installed and then DevKit installed on our Windows machine. If not, then you should be good just installing Homebrew. You could choose to use Ruby and DevKit as well if you want to just use gems instead of Homebrew. But if you guys already have Homebrew installed, which if you guys aren't familiar with this, it's just a package manager for Mac. And here you can see kind of how you would install that. So we're going to do this installation here for Windows. But again, you're going to want to make sure that you do click on this Ruby installer and that you do install Ruby and DevKit on your computer. And for this, all you need to do is go ahead and click this version that says with DevKit. You can go ahead and click download. And then if you go ahead and click on that installer, it'll go ahead and install everything for you so that you can go ahead and use DevKit and Ruby on Rails. Now, if you're using Homebrew, then just go ahead and visit Homebrew and get that installed. If you're on Mac, here you can see the license agreement. You can go ahead and accept, go ahead and get things installed. You really don't need the documentation. It's kind of on you whether you want or not you want to install this. For me, I don't do a lot of Ruby development offline where I would need the documentation locally on my computer. So I really only need the base files. Go ahead and hit next, and then it will go ahead and start installing. In my case, it needs to uninstall first and then reinstall, but I just want to show you guys the whole process here. Yeah, I don't need to do this stuff, I guess. I guess this is just the install script, so we'll go ahead and let it run, and it will go and install everything. Which components shall be installed? And I think we just need the base installation. So I'm going to hit 1, enter. So in my case, it's already properly installed. So we don't have to do anything there. And again, if you guys are on Mac, you can go to brew.sh and install Homebrew by copying this command and pasting it inside of your terminal. And then from there, it'll take a while, Homebrew, unfortunately, to get fully installed. But once that's done, you'll be able to move on to this next step, which is just installing Shopify CLI. So if you're using Homebrew, you can go ahead and use brew and then the tap command so that you can open up this Shopify repository, and then you can go ahead and install Shopify CLI from inside of that repository. We're going to be using gems, so we're going to actually go ahead and install the Shopify CLI gem. So if I look that up on Google, you'll actually see it on rubygems.org. This is the current package that we're going to be downloading. And here you can see that the owner is, in fact, Shopify. So I'm going to go ahead and run that command. gem install Shopify CLI. And in order to do this, you can do it a few different ways. You can open up your terminal directly if you want using command prompt. You can open up PowerShell if you need to execute that as an administrator. I like to just use VS Code, and I'm just going to open up a new window, a blank window. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and hit terminal, new terminal. And now I can go ahead and type in, what is it? Gem install Shopify CLI. And let's get some music back in here. See if I can get that to work. There we go. Just some chill music. Let me lower it a little bit. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and run this Shopify-CLI. And that's going to go ahead and ping that package and install all of the dependencies that we need, including Shopify Themecheck. So we've got it installed. Let's go ahead and move on to the next step, which is to verify the installation. So to verify it, all you need to do is ask for the Shopify version, and it will, if it's installed properly, it should spit out a version number. So I'm going to hit clear, and then we can run Shopify version, and we should get back a package number here, 2.7.4. That's perfect. Now that that's done, we can go ahead and move on to the next steps. So let's go ahead and learn how to create and manage themes. And then we'll run through some core commands and some theme commands. All right, so we've already done all the installation stuff. Next, let's go ahead and authenticate. So in order to do this, we're gonna need to use the Shopify Login command. Let me make this bigger. There we go. So we're gonna use the Shopify Login command. And essentially, it's going to allow us to log into a development store. In order to do this, you're going to need to log into your Shopify account first. At least that's what I always recommend. So I've got that over here. This is my partner's account, and I'm going to go ahead and log into this Liquid store. So I've got that pulled up here. And now from here, what I want to do is I want to pull in two pieces of information. The first is the URL of my store that I'm going to be working on, because this is what we're going to need to log in. Okay, and I'm going to just open up Notepad or sticky notes or whatever note tool you want to use. And I'm going to paste in my Shopify account and my store URL. So here's the store URL that we just copied. And now to get this Shopify account number, what you can do is when you're looking at all of your stores, right? The number that's in the URL is your Shopify account number, right? So this 2126437, that's my Shopify account number. That's the number you see here. And then this is the store URL we're going to need, right? So we're going to come back to this in a second. Let's go back to this command. And now here we can go ahead and build our command. See if I can make this bigger for you. It doesn't look like it can. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see that, because it's so small. That's okay. Let's go ahead and just build it over on our VS Code. So we're going to go ahead and type in Shopify Login, then it's -- store to specify the store URL. And then we're going to paste that store URL that we got earlier right here. And this is our full command to log into our Shopify store. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter here. It's going to attempt to log in. And now it's asking me which organization I want to use. Now, if you only have one, you don't have to pull up your account number. You can just go ahead and select the organization that you have, and you'll be good to go. But if you do have a few different accounts the way that I do, you're going to need to also pull up your account number, which we already did, and I know is this one. So I'm going to navigate down to 3, hit enter. Now we are logged in to our partner organization and to our very specific store. So let's continue here. There are a few things that we can do. We can create a new theme, which I do want to test doing this. So running Shopify theme init is going to create a new theme on our local machine. It clones a Git repository to your local machine to use as a starting point for building a theme. By default, it creates a copy of Dawn. Okay, so again, we're not cloning, we're going to init a new theme. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. And I'm gonna just, for our purposes, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna create probably a directory. So I'm gonna go ahead and make dir, which is make a directory. And we're going to go ahead and call this Shopify-CLI. Now I can go ahead and cd into my Shopify-CLI folder. And from in here, I can go ahead and run Shopify theme init. And that's going to, again, ask me for a name for our theme. And then we can go ahead and just call this CLI. And now it's cloning into this folder. But again, we don't have a folder here because we haven't opened it. So let's go ahead and click open folder. And now let's locate our Shopify CLI folder and select it. So now we've got our folder. Inside of this, we have our CLI folder, which has just a Dawn theme out of the box. I'm gonna go ahead and check this out really quickly. Just look at the templates. And yep, I can confirm it's got all these JSON templates. So it is in fact a new version of the Dawn theme. Now, let's say that we wanted to go ahead and start working on this new theme that we've set up. I'm going to skip this for now. We're going to get back to this in a second. But instead, what I want to do is I want to look at this Shopify Themeserv command. So what this allows us to do is it allows us to interact with our theme code in the browser. So it will go ahead and upload whatever theme you have on your local computer, which is this folder, as a development theme on the store that you're connected to. So what is this? Let's look at development themes. A development theme is a temporary hidden theme that is connected to your Shopify store that you are using for development. Makes sense? When you connect your theme to a store as a development theme, you can use that store's data for local testing. So essentially, we're working on our own local copy, and all we're doing is we're pulling in data from our website in order to use it on our local development environment. So you can create a development theme using Shopify Themeserv command, which is exactly what we're going to do now. Let's see. This is cool. Development themes don't count towards your theme limit and are deleted from the store after 7 days of inactivity. Okay. So that makes sense. It's literally just something for you to currently work on. As soon as it's not needed, it will be deleted, but it should all be in your local machine anyway, so it shouldn't be a big deal. So your development theme is deleted when you run Shopify logout. Very cool. Your development theme can be used to perform the following task. You can view changes in real time to a theme that you're developing locally. You can customize and interact with the theme using Shopify's admin theme editor. And you can even share a password protected preview of the theme with other developers. You'll just have to obviously make sure not to run Shopify logout, or make sure that it's previewed within those 7 days so it doesn't get just completely deleted. So let's go back and let's run Shopify Themeserv and let's see what this does here. So we've got our file here. Let's go into our terminal. I'm going to cd into the CLI folder, because this is where our theme lives. This is just a parent folder. And now that we're in the proper theme folder, I'm going to run Shopify, if I can spell, Themeserv. And now it says it is syncing this local theme up to a development theme up on the website that we're logged into. So we'll go ahead and let that happen and do its thing. And in just a second, we'll be able to preview our theme and start making changes here to our code. So yep, this is the output that we're seeing. And this is what we'll be doing next. Okay, so here it's syncing all of these assets. And if I click on this, we will get our store, which we will need a password for. I will try to guess a password. Looks like that worked. So here's our store. And what's cool about this is if you're using this Shopify Themeserv command and you're working on a local development environment, what you can do is essentially come in here and you can make changes. So let's say, for example, I go to my templates. Actually, let's go to layout, theme.liquid. And let's say, I think I made a mistake there. I just closed out the terminal that was running the server, which closed out the server. So we're gonna have to run that command one more time. Sorry about that. So it's important to note that if you're doing this, you have to leave the terminal open with the actual Shopify Themeserv command. If you close it out, it might give you an error. It has happened to me a few times. So let's see what it tells me. Okay, looks like it's fine. So we should be able to now look at this URL one more time. Control click. And now if we make a change here to our theme.liquid, like let's say we want to get rid of all of the content, we could actually do that by just deleting everything inside this body. And to test that this works, I'll go ahead and put an H1 here that says this works. And the web page actually live reloads. So what that means is that as soon as I save this, it's going to sync with the terminal. And it's going to go ahead and just serve up whatever changes we made. So let's go ahead and save it. Right? It says there's an error, but then even though there's an error, it will automatically live reload and try to serve up the new theme. So this is really useful because if you're like me and you've got a couple of different monitors, you can have the web store on one side, you can have the code on the other, and you can go and actually start making changes to your theme, and you can see it live reloading as it happens. So this saves me a ton of time when I'm actually working on new components or new sections or anything like that, because I don't have to be constantly refreshing, going back and forth and making sure things are synced. I can make my changes here on my local environment, and then as soon as I'm ready, I can go ahead and push that up to my store. So there are a couple other things I want to show you, specifically the fact that you can click on this link as well. I don't know if you guys can see that. Head over to the other side, which somehow made me disappear. 1 second, guys. I've got OBS messing with me a lot today. There we go. Okay, so this URL right here, if we go ahead and we click on that, we'll be able to actually edit the backend of our development theme. Right now, for some reason, it doesn't seem to be working. I'm not sure why it comes out looking like this. Like it's not fully recognizing the full URL when I click it, which is kind of weird. I'll try clicking it again. Now that I've extended it, it somehow knows that it's the full URL. Windows is a little weird, I'm not gonna lie, but there we go. Now we can go and actually start to edit our backend. Let's expand this. And what's cool about this is that you're editing a development theme, right? So whatever edits you make here, even though you are technically making it on the Shopify backend, it's not going to go and actually show up on your theme because this is just a development theme, right? So if we go and we look Let's click exit and let's look at our themes. We've got the Dawn theme, which was installed out of the box. And then we've got some of these other themes here. But what you'll notice is you can't actually see your development theme. And that is because this development theme that we have is a hidden theme, right? So it's only visible to us while we're editing here locally. And it's only visible to us while we're logged into Shopify. As soon as we hit Shopify logout, which we can go ahead and do just for science, we'll do it for science. Hit yes. And that terminates the batch job. Now, in theory, I should be able to still click share this theme preview and I should be able to see it. However, if the documentation is correct and I type in Shopify logout, that theme should no longer be visible. So we're testing that out. Like successfully logged out of your Shopify account. So let's refresh. Oh, actually, this is the wrong URL. So theme cannot be previewed. Yeah. So it looks like because we ran the Shopify logout, now we can no longer actually start using these links to edit our theme because our theme got deleted. The theme you are looking for cannot be found. Very cool. So let's go ahead and log back in. And again, same exact command, Shopify login -- store and the URL of your store. Now, sometimes if you haven't logged in recently through the actual GUI interface or the graphical interface, then you're going to have to go ahead and just log in to authenticate. As soon as it's authenticated, you can go ahead and close that out. You should see a message like the one that we just saw. And now we can see that our terminal has updated the messaging and is asking us to select our partner organization, which we already know is number 3. So we've got that selected and now we're logged back into Shopify. And again, we can run Shopify Themeserv. Shopify Themeserv, and we'll get access to this theme once again. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow. I guess it really depends on how different or how much it needs to build. Like the first time, because we deleted or we logged out, it deleted the development theme. So now it's doing the work of setting up a brand new development theme. So in theory, the number that we see here is going to be different for our new development store. At least that's what I'm thinking, if the logic holds that they're deleting and creating a new environment every single time. So we'll give this a second to run. And I'll use this time to wish you guys a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and I'll have some coffee. Ah, it's cold. Almost there. Okay. So let's go ahead and click on this URL. Both of these. Got our front end and now our back end. And yep, now we can see that the development numbers for the theme have in fact changed, right? So this is no longer active. If I refresh this, it won't work. Let me confirm. Yep. So that's because the theme got deleted when we did Shopify logout. Make sense? Cool. All right, let's keep working through this documentation. So we already served it and we looked at front end, back end preview stuff. Let's go ahead and look at the Shopify Themecheck command. So what this does is it's going to automatically lint your theme's code. So linting, let's look that up. It says here, according to Google, linting is the automated checking of your source code for programmatic and stylistic errors. So what this is doing is it's going and it's checking your code that you've written here, any of your code in any of these files, and it's making sure that it's up to the standards that Shopify has set for their themes. So let's go ahead and give that a try. We'll run Shopify Themecheck and let's take a look at the output. And let's go full screen here. We're going to need to create a new terminal because this one is currently just managing the server. So we're going to create a new terminal instance so that we can go ahead and run some of our commands in. I pasted the wrong thing, but also let's go ahead and cd into the correct folder. Now that we're here, I can go ahead and run Shopify Themecheck. This is going to lint all of the code inside of my theme, and it's going to spit out hopefully any errors that it finds. Here you can see a sample of the output. So let's take a look at what the actual output is. It says checking, and maybe we can go ahead and write some shoddy code, and we can go ahead and get it to actually tell us where the error is. Got someone in the stream. Top Web Partner says, "Hi, David." Hi. Good to see you, my friend. This is taking forever, which is to be expected because it's got to check all of these files, and it can't be easy on a computer that's also live streaming at the same time. So we'll give that a second. Maybe let's look at the documentation a little bit more. Shopify Themecheck, calls and runs Themecheck. And you can pass in some parameters, it seems. Oh, my big old head again. There we go. Let's see. Okay, looks like we got some output here. Take a look. It's funny that it's giving us errors on their own, like, starter Dawn theme. I think that's so funny. Like, you guys should have fixed this if your Themecheck is going to run all of these issues. It has so many issues. 231 files inspected and 324 offenses detected. 311 of them are auto-correctable. So is there a way that we can auto-correct? Themecheck. So Themecheck is a linter for Liquid and JSON inside your theme and theme app extensions. It detects errors, enforces Shopify theme, and Liquid best practices. Themecheck can identify several issues in your theme code. For example, Liquid syntax errors, missing templates, unused variables and snippets, unknown and deprecated tags, excessive snippet nesting, and performance issues. Programming and style errors displayed directly in your console or code editor, and each error includes a link to the failed checks documentation, allowing you to debug issues quickly. Let's take a look at that. So all of these have links. This is where the issue is occurring. And then if I click on the suggestion, I see no links. It's definitely very thorough in what it spits out. But I don't see... I don't see anywhere where I can just kind of click. This is where the error occurs. But I'm not seeing any way that I can see recommendations for errors. Let's see. Look at this checks reference. So these are flags, I guess, that you can pass in to specify what you want your check to do. You can validate JSON, Liquid, HTML, even performance or translations. Yeah, this tells us what to fix, but it doesn't actually tell us where the documentation is. What I want to see is the auto-correctable offenses. if we pass in this autocorrect flag, it will automatically fix correctable offenses. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. I'm going to run Shopify Themecheck and then pass in the flag autocorrect. That should fix 311 issues, leaving only 13 for us to manually fix here. I'm going to run the autocorrect flag. That's going to run the theme check, and it's going to now fix all of these issues automatically. It is pretty cool that Shopify knows like how to fix these issues automatically. I just think it's a little strange that the new Dawn theme fails the Shopify theme check. Let me know if you agree with me. If you think that's a little weird in the comments. I'm definitely not going to sit here and fix the Shopify Dawn theme to pass this linter. I don't know if the linter needs to be updated, and it just hasn't been updated to include all the new changes to the Shopify Dawn theme. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that that's what it is, and that there's technically probably nothing wrong with the Dawn theme itself. But yeah, a little worrying for you to start building a theme and then literally the theme that you're building has all these errors. Apparently, which 311 of which needed to be corrected. So it says that they were in fact corrected. So if I run Shopify theme check one more time, in theory, we should only get 13 offenses, which is much more manageable. These little theme checks take forever though. Look through some documentation while we're doing this. So you can apparently configure your theme check file and you can have it do specific things. By default, you get this themecheck.yaml file and there's not much in there, but it looks like there's quite a bit that you can specify, including paths that you want to make sure get checked. You can disable specific checks or enable a custom check. So this means that you can write your own tests and have this actually check it for you, which is kind of cool. Let's see if that check is done. There we go. So now we're seeing only 13 offenses. None of them are auto-correctable. So if you ran Shopify, what was it? Theme check, and you got all of these issues, right? And you see some of them are auto-correctable, then you can run Shopify theme check -- autocorrect, and it will go ahead and correct everything it can. For the remaining 13 that you're seeing here, it seems as though you will have to go in and actually manually do these. So let's do one as an example. So right here, it says on this file, on this line number, you're supposed to add loading equal lazy attribute to defer loading of images. So let's fix this really quick. Okay, this is where it needs to happen. I'm going to control click on this, and I'm going to go directly to that file and that section. And we're going to do exactly what they said, which I already forgot. Add loading equal lazy is what they said. So let's do that. Image loading equal lazy, and we save. So we'd essentially just have to do that for each of these that were identified, which is not too many of them, 13 of them. Still more than I would like to probably fix on the stream. So I think we're going to leave that. Instead, I'm going to run this command again. And what we're going to see is this number go from 13 down to 12 because we fixed one of them. Obviously, you're going to want to go and just make sure that you make all of these fixes if you can, because quite frankly, the linter is probably going to know a little bit better about best practices as opposed to going in and manually making sure that things follow best practice. I always like to use a linter when possible, so I very much like that it's built into Shopify CLI. Let's go back. We don't need any of this stuff anymore. Let's go back to the Shopify CLI documentation and let's look at some other theme commands here. So we've already theme init, we've already Themeserved, we've already Themechecked. So now let's look at pulling in a theme from Shopify. So you can pass in some options and you can specify a path to your theme. You can specify that you want to pull in the live publish theme. If not, then you need to specify the ID. You can actually run a pull command without deleting local files, which is interesting. And apparently you can create a .shopify ignore file to specify what files you do not want to pull, which is really, really cool. So let's do that. We're going to do Shopify theme pull, and we're going to see what happens. I'm going to run clear. And this is really important that you guys make a note of what terminals you guys have. In my case, I have a terminal that's currently running the server in the background, and I don't want the server to be running while we're pulling in a new theme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Control C, or I'm going to click Control C. That's going to stop the server. And then it's going to ask me if I want to terminate the batch job. I'm going to click yes, which is just Y, enter, and there we go. That's terminated that process. So now I can go ahead and I can run Shopify theme pull. Now this is asking me, hey, these are all of the themes that you currently have available. Which one do you want me to pull? So let's see, we can see our development environment and we can see that it's ours. That's number 4, which is pretty cool. Let's look at our themes over here just really quickly, because I want to get a quick refresher on if any are connected to GitHub or not. So online stores, themes, we can scroll down and here I can see one is connected to GitHub and the other is not. They both, oh, they have different names, so that's fine. Okay, so I want to pull in Shopify Liquid Master, which is this one. So let's go down to number 3, click enter. And now this is going to clear out everything that you see in here, and it's going to pull in the new files. Okay, it says that it was pulled successfully. And let's take a look, because I don't see anything that changed, but I think that they're both pretty much just essentially copies of each other. So because I want to make sure that something actually changed here, we're going to make a change on our actual store. So in the Shopify backend on this particular theme, I'm going to go to actions, edit code, and I want to see if there's any code here that maybe has been edited. You can see that with this little dot. I don't know if you guys can see it, but if there's a little dot on that theme, that means that that has been edited somehow and is not the same as the original theme. So let's see, some of these I feel like I might have worked on, though I don't remember. This actually looks like it's mostly just the Dawn theme. Yeah, so here's what we're gonna do. We're going to go into layout and we're going to add a new layout. And this one's going to be called test.liquid. So now we've got this theme.test.liquid inside of this environment. And what I want to do is I want to try running this command again to see if I can pull in that file, Shopify theme pool, because we made that change on our Shopify store. And now we want to pull it into our live environment. I'm going to try Shopify theme pool. That's again going to make me ask, it's going to ask me which one I want to use. I'm going to select the correct theme. And now it's going to go ahead and try to pull the file. And here we saw theme.test.liquid get pulled in, which is very cool. Cool. So that's how you would pull a theme down from your Shopify store into your local environment so that you can work on it. And again, if you wanted to go ahead and serve it up, you can go ahead and run Shopify. Move my head. Shopify Themeserv. And then that will go ahead and serve it up for you so that you can start making changes on your local environment. Now let's make a couple of changes and let's go ahead and push that up because I'm very curious on how that's going to work. How's everybody doing today? Let me know in the chat if you guys are here with me alive. So there we go. We've got our store. And now again, we can go ahead and start making our changes here on our local environment and it will reflect. So let's go ahead and make a couple changes. I'm going to click on this and what we're going to do is we're going to make changes to our theme.liquid. Just some really simple stuff that we already did, but we're going to push it up this time to see if it works. So let's get rid of all this stuff inside the body and we'll put an H1 and say this works, theme pushed successfully. I'm going to save it. That's going to update my actual store that we're previewing. And now what I want to actually see happen is if I come and I view, so I come in here and I preview this theme, we want to see the exact same thing that we're seeing on our local environment, right? So here's our local environment. There we go. So that's what we're seeing. This is the actual store up on Shopify. And what we want to try to do is we want to try to use a push command. So this will allow us to upload our local theme files up to Shopify and then override the remote theme if we specify it. So if you don't specify it, you're going to be asked to choose one. It says you can only run this command in a directory that matches the default Shopify theme folder structure. So that means that if you don't have the right folder structure, in this case, templates, snippets, sections, layouts, or locales, layout, config, assets, then it's not going to properly push. You need to make sure that you have that structure. Luckily, we used Shopify Theme Init or Shopify Theme Pool, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's go ahead and just run Shopify Theme Push. And let's see. Looks like there are some flags that you can pass in here. You can push it only to your development theme. And if you don't have one, one is created, which I think is really cool, because that way you're not overwriting anything. You can specify a no delete flag so that you don't delete any remote files. This is interesting. Returns information about the push theme as a JSON file, and then this is what you would see. Allow live allows you to override the live theme. -- live pushes to the live theme. -- publish makes it so that after it gets pushed, it becomes the live theme. You publish it as the live theme. Unpublished uploads the theme to the theme library as a new unpublished theme, which is kind of cool. So we could actually just pull down from Shopify using Shopify Theme Pool, and then you could actually set it to unpublished, and it will create a new unpublished theme for you if you want to work in there. You can even set it to -- development. That'll create a development theme for you, which is really, really cool. I think we're just going to go ahead and replace it because our change is so minor. So we're just going to run Shopify theme push. Okay, now it's making sure that I specify the theme that I'm pushing to, which is this liquid one. We're going to push to it. Now it says that it's pushing. And again, what we're trying to see is when we reload this page, it should look like this because we've changed our theme.liquid file. So let's give that a chance to finish, and then we'll give it a quick refresh. Let's go ahead and just refresh here. Okay. Looks like that didn't work. Let's view your theme using this preview ID. Okay. That didn't work either. Even though I see that the theme.liquid, we've replaced the body. Let's go actually look at the code. So this is the theme that we pushed up to. Let's refresh. It still says last saved 6 minutes ago. And if I click on view logs, we can see that it did actually receive the new files and it updated the theme. So let's go ahead and look at the code. We're going to click edit code. And theme.liquid. We scroll down to the body. Very interesting. Even though we made that change, it decided to replace it. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. My guess, and this is my guess here, guys, but if we look at the code or the error that got spit out here, it says, hey, you're actually missing content for layout in the body section of the template. And it's very likely that if an error occurs on this, that it's not going to allow you to just push up. So let's try to fix this, and let's see if that will actually allow us to receive this file. I'm just going to say h1, and then content for layout is going to go inside. If I save this and I look at my terminal, you can see now that it's been properly synced, right? So we're not getting this error anymore. It's been synced. Let's go ahead and try running again Shopify theme push. And again, we'll specify where we want it to go. It says our theme was pushed successfully. Now, if I reload and we look at the theme.liquid file, we can see the body, our h1. I really want you guys to see, so I'm going to expand a little bit. There we go. So here's our h1 that we went ahead and wrote. And now here is the content for layout, which was causing an error. So it looks like even if you try to push it and it has an error, Shopify will just say, no way. We're not putting this on our server. So it gets linted one way or the other. All right, let's go ahead and refresh here, which is us previewing the theme. And we should see exactly what we saw on the live site, which is this h1 and then the body content. So go ahead and refresh here. Okay, that did not work. Oh, but I'm previewing the wrong theme here. So let's go and actually preview the right theme. Open this. There we go. So here's our h1. I got different amounts of zoom, but it's exactly the same now. All right, so we've successfully initiated a theme, pulled a theme, pushed a theme. What else do we need to do? Publish a theme. So this publishes an unpublished theme from your theme library. So I guess if you want to go and actually like push it up and then you can go ahead and run a publish command after, it looks like you can do that. In my opinion, you could also just run Shopify theme push -- publish, and it will do the exact same thing as Shopify theme publish. But let's go ahead and do that because I want to see what it's like to publish this theme through the command. So this is my store, uxhacks-liquid.myshopify.com. By default, it has the Dawn theme installed. And what we're going to do is run a publish command to make this the publish theme. So in theory, when we visit this URL and we're not looking at a preview, we should see what we're seeing here. So let's go ahead and run that. Oh, looks like we got some spammers in here. Go. Sorry, guys. Got some Twitch spammers there. All right. So let's go ahead and run Shopify theme publish. And at this point, we can just paste in the name of the theme, but it'll ask me to specify right after. And then these are the unpublished themes that get returned. And we're going to go ahead and publish the liquid one. Hit enter. It says, are you sure you want to make that the new live theme? Yes. It says my theme is now live. So let's refresh the live theme. And now we see our change. So we are able to successfully publish our theme directly through Shopify CLI, which is pretty cool. Next, let's look at this package command, which I've not seen before. It says this packages your local theme files into a zip file that you can actually upload to Shopify. But only folders that match the default Shopify theme folder structure are included in the package. Why is this important? Well, if you are doing SaaS on your local environment, you don't want to push all the SaaS files up to Shopify, and Shopify no longer supports SaaS by default. So this way you can still have your SaaS structure going on. You could still be using SaaS on your website or Gulp or whatever it is that you want in order to compile things, but it's not going to get pushed up to your Shopify theme, which is really cool. The zip uses the name theme name -theme version.zip. So let's try that. Let's go ahead and package our theme really quick. I'll go Shopify theme package. It says xzip is required for packaging a theme. Please install zip using the appropriate package manager for your system. So it looks like we have to install xzip. Interesting that they don't mention any of that, but that's okay. Let's get it installed. Gosh, I have no idea. Is it xzip or just zip? Let me see. Let's go back to this error. Let me Google this error because I'm sure I'm not the first person that has had this problem. So it says on Windows, there is no native zip utility available on the command line. I'm not used to that because I come from Mac development, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what is being used to check for zip. Very interesting. I want you guys to go ahead and do me a favor and give me a thumbs up in this video for dealing with Shopify documentation for another live stream. Not easy. It just says xzip. What is xzip? Is that what you're currently running? I have no idea what this is. Let's see if we can find more information online and see if we can get this to work. I have to use quotation marks to make sure I'm looking for the correct thing here. Shopify theme kit. Package. Oh. So this is from Themekit, which is deprecated, right? Shopify CLI tool is meant to replace Themekit. So none of this should really be a thing. Yeah. Shopify package. Shopify theme package zip. Windows? Let's see how I can run a zip command on Windows. Zip. That's the thing, is it says xzip, but I've never heard of xzip and I can't seem to find it anywhere. Let's see if I can look at the Shopify CLI for GitHub and see if inside of this I can look at the package command. Ah, 8 pages of this nonsense. Okay. Shopify theme package. This is the commands. Yeah, and then this is the package command. Let's see here. This isn't requiring anything special. I think it's just looking for a zip command. Check prerequisite command zip. And it's just saying, hey, zip is not a command. So it fails at that point. Okay. So in theory, I shouldn't be able to run zip assets because it says the term zip is not recognized as the name of a command. Okay, let's try installing some way to use zip inside of Windows. So I'm going to try installing 7-zip, which seems to give me access to that command. And then we'll do 64-bit Windows. Let's go ahead and install that. Again, hopefully you won't have this issue if you're on Mac. You should have a zip command out of the box just working. Did that install? Let's try running zip again. Okay, that failed. But sometimes you have to just delete the terminal and start a new terminal in order for it to work. Nope, that didn't work either. Okay. But how do I use it? That is the question. Let's see. So that's like a file manager, 7-zip. Let's look at these command line examples. So this uses 7z, I think, instead of zip, which means that it's not going to be able to execute this command unless we change it, which we'd have to change inside the Shopify CLI. What a pain. How to zip a file using 7-zip. Use zip command line windows. Unzip.exe. But that only unzips, and we want to be able to zip and unzip. Very interesting. I'm going to open up PowerShell as an administrator to test a couple things. So if you're using Microsoft Windows, Windows does not come with a command line zip program. People recommend 7-zip, which the command is 7z. So if I run 7z, yeah, it's not sure what the heck that is. Let's see. I'm opening up 7-zip that I downloaded and look inside these properties. Okay. So it looks like there's some steps here that we need to take, specifically setting the path and variable on our Windows machine to point to the 7z.exe. Man, I don't think that's going to fix this package thing, though. I'm sorry, Shopify, but I don't know what happened here that you guys just didn't catch this issue. Like the fact that I can't run Shopify theme package, because there's no zip command, seems a little weird. It seems like I'd need to create my own zip command in order for this to function, which is, man, this is way too much work for this live stream. System, advanced system properties, environment variables. Okay. So within these environment variables, and it seems like way too much. I think we're gonna have to skip Shopify theme package because, dude, this doesn't work. Doesn't work on Windows. You would have to come in and use like 7-zip or create some sort of alternative command. Shopify theme package, Windows 10. Again, you're in a Mac, you don't have to worry about this. If you're on a Windows, you might have some trouble using Shopify theme package. If that happens, there are other ways that you could do it. You're not going to be able to obviously use some of the things that they do, like making sure that only the default folder structure is in place, but you can still do it. You can just use a uncompress command or a compress or uncompress command. So let's see. So compact is the name of the command. So let's try that really quickly, because I'm just curious to see if there's a better way that we can do it if we still wanted to get, for example, this CLI folder as a zip. Maybe we can still run compress -c and then the folder that we're in. The term compress is also not recognized. Okay. Very well. I am on Windows, but I guess you guys make the rules now. So zip folder Windows 10 command line. Let's see what we got here. I use tar. Or you can use PowerShell's compress archive. Very interesting. I don't know what all these flags are. Tar command flags. So create an archive file. Okay, that is fine. What does A do? It's interesting, but none of these are there. Tar command flags. And let's just run tar.exe-c and then the name of the folder that we're in, which is this one, and where we want it to go. And we can go ahead and name it zip.zip. Failed to open. Let me try going up one level. And then instead of running this, we can run failed to open again. Okay. Yeah, what a pain. Let me show you how to do this without the command line. 2 seconds. Right click your folder. Then you can reveal in File Explorer. From the File Explorer, right click. Then you can go ahead and use your 7-zip, and you can go ahead and create a zip archive if you like. I think if you right click as well, you can send to and then use compressed, and that will give you the exact same thing. You're not going to get all of the super nice fancy checks that you get if you're using the Shopify theme package command, but you're also not going to get it to work out of the box if you're using Windows. So what did we learn today, boys and girls? Shopify theme package needs a serious update in terms of documentation and code. Only going to work on Windows computers that have a zip command on the terminal, which by default Windows 10 does not. And will only work on Mac and Linux probably out of the box. So Shopify theme package, probably not something you're going to be using. Let's try the next one, which is Shopify theme delete. And let's go ahead and try to just delete our theme from the store. Again, this is all like test stuff, so I don't really mind if we delete it. It's really not a big deal for me. So let's see what this does. So this actually deletes the theme from our store, like our actual store. So if we run Shopify theme delete, now we can come in here and we can specify what we want to delete. We can delete a development theme, which is kind of cool, or our current theme. So I could come down here, and if I wanted to, we can just delete the development theme without having to run Shopify logout. And if we run that again, you see that it's not there. What I'm curious about, let's say we ran this command and we actually don't want to run it. I think if we run Control-C, we click Control-C, it'll interrupt the process, which is kind of cool. But I think those are all of the Shopify CLI commands for theme development. Let's see what else they have here for us. This is for building apps. We're not going to be doing that. And then core commands are just the regular Shopify CLI core commands that you might need to run. Let's go through these. I think these are important as well. The first, Shopify Help. This will give you information on what different commands you can use. So for example, this one right here, Shopify Who Am I? Identifies which partner, organization, or store you're currently logged into. So let's try that. Shopify Who Am I? Right, and this is telling us exactly what we're logged into. This is great. If you work on a lot of different stores, you should know that command. Shopify Login, we've already done to login. We don't need to do that. Shopify Logout, we've already done as well. Shopify Populate adds example data to your store for testing your app or theme's behavior. Oh. So you can pass in products, customers, draft orders, and then you can even put the count. By default, 5 will be created. Okay. What happens if I just run Shopify Populate by itself? Populate. Okay, so now it's telling me I need to specify what I wanted to put in, so we can go ahead and pass in. Do I pass it in inside of these brackets, just like that? Like I pass in this, customers and products. Okay. So looks like you have to specify one of them, and it will go and it will populate for one of the things. It says I'm currently logged into this one. Do I want to proceed with this store? Yes. Okay. We got some product being added now to our Shopify store. And if we come into our Shopify store on the back end, go to products. Now we see our test products that we could use to test. We can go ahead and run this as well if we wanted to create customers or test orders or anything like that. And it'll do the exact same thing, confirm, and then it'll go ahead and create a couple of things here. So now we have some customers and we've got some products that we didn't have before, all thanks to Shopify's populate command. What else? Shopify store displays the store you're logged into. Very similar to the Shopify Who Am I. This tells you the store URL. Shopify Switch allows you to switch between stores without having to log in and out again. Very useful. Let's try that. Shopify Switch. And now I can very easily just switch to a different store. I can run Shopify Who Am I? And we'll see that now I'm logged into the same organization, but a different URL. I can go ahead and do Shopify Switch again. And I can switch back to the one we were working on. Very cool. What else? Shopify version, which again, we ran in the beginning. It just tells you the version number of the Shopify CLI that you're running. Config allows you to configure anonymous usage reporting. Let's try that out. And then feature configs active feature sets in the CLI. This command is used for development and debugging work on the CLI tool itself. Unless you're developing the tool, don't alter this command. So I guess this is what we would use if we were actually going and making the changes that we need to make the zip work on Windows. We're not going to do any of that stuff. But let's try this. Shopify config analytics is kind of interesting. And you can enable, disable, or get the status of the analytics. So let's get the status first, and then we can enable it and see what that looks like. Analytics are currently disabled. So let's go ahead and enable it. Analytics have been enabled. Very interesting. But I don't think that actually pulls in any dummy data or anything like that. If we go to analytics, seems like it just enables anonymous reporting, which, as far as I can tell, this is only being sent to Shopify, so we don't actually get anything here. In which case, I will disable it. Very cool. And Shopify Who Am I is the last one. So that's pretty much it. We've gone through all of the Shopify CLI. Let me see if they've got anything here on GitHub. Extension commands. This is for apps. Oh, and it looks like there are some scripts commands that you can use with Shopify CLI as well. Creates a new script project. Deploy a script. Okay. But overall, I think we got a really good look at Shopify CLI and how to use it. I definitely do recommend, first of all, that you're always browsing the right Shopify CLI. This happens to me very often. Like right here, we're looking at Shopify CLI for apps, but we want to look at Shopify CLI for themes. Now, if you come in here, there's a lot of really useful information, but let's see. Developer tools, Shopify CLI. This has everything that we went through today. I would recommend you watch Liam's video. This is actually a really great intro to Shopify CLI as well. Let's see. We went through all of this stuff already. This is the theme structure that they're going to be looking for. You can exclude files. Let's see, we've got it installed. I think the only thing that we didn't do is uninstall it, which is the first thing I actually did before this live stream. So I want to show you guys how to upgrade it and how to uninstall it. So if you guys are on Homebrew, you would run brew update and then brew upgrade. So brew update updates Homebrew, and then brew upgrade. You just have to specify what package you want to upgrade, and it'll go and will try to update it. For me, we would just run gem update Shopify-CLI. Let's go ahead and try to run it. I have the latest version, so we should not be able to update. Nothing up to date, nothing to update. Very good. Now, migrating from a legacy version, this is pretty straightforward. You would uninstall and then install the new version and re-authenticate. So let's just show you how to uninstall. If you're using the legacy version of Shopify CLI, then you're going to have to follow these instructions. I did not have the legacy version, so all I had to do was just this gem uninstall Shopify CLI. And if I run that, it will say, hey, do you want to remove all of these executables? If I click yes, it will actually uninstall it. I'm going to click no because I need it on my system. But that's pretty much it. We went through init, serve, check, pull, push, publish. Package didn't work, and we went through delete. So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to let you guys vote in the comments of this live stream what you guys want to see next. What I'm thinking is we can either have a live stream where we learn more about Shopify Themecheck, learn about the linter, get it set up, get it working for us, and start making customizations to our theme and actually having that check it. The other thing that we can do is we can learn about the GitHub integration on the next stream. And this would mean actually using Shopify CLI with GitHub to push and pull themes up to GitHub and up to our actual store. The way that, let's see, if we come back here and we go to themes, you'll notice that you now have the ability to add theme from GitHub. And we've covered this on other live streams, so I'm not going to talk about it too much today. But this is actually really critical when it comes to Shopify theme development. So this was actually hooked up before to GitHub, but because we reserved it, now it's kind of only hooked up to our local environment. But I think that would be a really great thing to cover on one of these live streams. If you guys have any other ideas of things that you'd want to see regarding Shopify development or theme development in general, feel free to let me know, and we might actually do that for an upcoming live stream. So apparently they also have a theme inspector. I hadn't seen this before. It's a browser plugin that visualizes liquid render profiling data in a flame graph. What the heck is this? Oh, very specific. So this is some more advanced development stuff. I also want to do a live stream in the future on how to optimize your theme for performance. So it looks like you can actually use this Lighthouse CI action. So Lighthouse, if you guys are not familiar with, is referring to Google Lighthouse. So if we take a theme, let's just look at one of these. So we take this theme and we right click inspect. We can actually, let me dock this here so you can see. We can actually see a tab if you're on Chrome that says Lighthouse. And if you generate a report for this, it's going to tell you what the performance of your website is like and what needs to be optimized in terms of performance, best practices, SEO, and accessibility. And the reason that this is really important is because Google uses these numbers to figure out whether or not they're going to rank your store and how high they're going to rank it. So we want to make sure that we're in the green as much as possible. You'd be surprised how bad some of these stores can get, especially the ones that are not built on the new Dawn theme and the ones that don't have image optimization in place. So I feel like actually taking the time to learn how to use this Lighthouse CI command so that you can actually go and optimize your store would be a really interesting live stream. Let me know what you guys think. We talked about development stores already. Oh, this is actually development stores. We did development themes. This is a whole nother thing. Let's look at what they have here for Dawn. Yeah. All right, I think that's it for me, guys. So again, let's wrap up what we went through today. We talked about the Shopify command line tool. I showed you guys how to actually install it. I showed you guys some very basic core commands like how to ask for help, how to log in, how to log out, how to populate your store with test data, how to specify what store you're on, how to switch between stores. Then we went into specific theme commands, how to initialize a new theme, how to serve a theme from your local computer up to a development theme, how to actually run Themecheck on your Shopify theme to make sure it doesn't have any issues. Unfortunately, a lot of issues by default for the Dawn, but I'm sure they'll update their linter sooner or later. We learned how to pull from a Shopify store and get all of the theme files. We learned how to push up to a Shopify store. We even learned how to publish directly from our command line interface. Package didn't work, but Windows, Linux, you'll be able to use this. And then we learned how to actually delete a theme from our environment, which again does not delete it on your local environment. It only deletes it on your Shopify store. And that's pretty much everything that you need to learn how to do for Shopify CLI. All right. Well, if you guys have not already, I'm going to go ahead and ask that you do me a favor. Oh, I am invisible, but go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe if you have not, and hit that little bell notification to make sure that you don't miss out on any of our future live streams. Now, I'm going to really quickly grab my big head, and I'm going to fix this green screen issue that we're having. No idea why that's happening, but that's okay. So, again, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out. We got a question here by Lanzi. He says, what's your Instagram and Twitter? Well, you can find all of those inside of my YouTube channel or whatever channel you are. There are social links in the banner, or you can find me on Instagram at UXHacks or on Twitter at UXHacks with a little underscore because somebody stole my username. But until then, my friends, I will catch you guys on the next live stream. I hope you have an amazing holiday break. If you guys are on holiday, I hope you guys have an awesome New Year's if I don't see you until then. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Bye.